let's start. Types of programming languages. Then translators, and then we have and IDE, integrated development environment, right? So types of programming languages. Umar, maybe you have an idea of old computers. Let me say the earliest computers. They were big enough uh, so that can be fit into a big room, right?
Yeah.
And the people, at that moment, the people, the programmer, they had to change the wires, plug into different holes, and using zeros and ones. It was a very long and lengthy process. They had to write one program in weeks and in so many days. Whenever
Yes.
the things develop, especially in technology, it takes time. So that was the process, that was actually the development on the sides of computer sciences. Later on, they started thinking, यार ये जो 0101 and these punching cards, and we have these machines have human intervention. So we should not be called it a it's a computer. Computer should be an automatic machine, right, Uber?
Yeah.
So they started thinking to develop different types of languages. For example, they started this language, developed this language, we call it assembly language. Assembly language, machine language, or machine code or machine language that comprises of zeros and ones, right? So that was very hard to understand, hard to write, understand, and even hard to debug. Debug means bug mean error. Debug mean when you make it correct. This is called debug
Yeah.
karna, right? So low level language. Low level language like assembly language, it allowed programmers to write programs using simple commands. Low level language that allows the programmers to write what? The programs, write the programs using mnemonics. Mnemonics means Mnemonic. Please make me correct if the spelling is not correct, right? Mnemonics means these were the words or commands being used at that moment in the assembly language. For example, if you need to store the data, then you have to sorry, then you have to write this command sto and the location. Okay, so this is a mnemonic code. L, D, D, J, P, N, J, P, E, right? So these were the mnemonic codes. It means people started writing the codes in the English language. Though that was very complicated to understand, but that's much better and easier than zeros and ones. Umar, clear?
Yeah.
So if somebody asks you what are the mnemonic codes, you should simply say these are the commands which were used by the programmers in assembly language. And these commands are STO stands for store, LDD that is directly writing the data in the accumulator, JPE, JPN, MOV, etc. etc. There are so many commands. LDX, right? LDI. So there are so many commands. Umar, clear?
Yeah.
So writing these commands into the assembly language, definitely they were supposed to be converted or translated into machine code eventually. Because computer only understands machine language which is binary. More clear?
Yeah.
Okay, very interestingly, these languages were written for a specific processor. For example, let me give you an example. We have this Intel processor, then we have a Ryzen processor or AMD processor. So writing commands for this Intel, they won't work for this processor, they won't work for this AMD processor, right?
Yeah.
So that's why we call it these languages, assembly languages, were written for a specific processor. And these are very closely mapped to the machine architecture. And architecture means there are CISC and RISC architecture. Bharal, this is not the part of IGCSE. ये आपका
You know,
एक, yes,
my father, he used to know assembly.
don't tell me, really?
Yeah.
That's great. So you can ask him these things. What are these mnemonic codes? Abu, please tell me, how do you write? So he will tell you amazing things.
Yeah.
Literally, I'm telling you, you will enjoy. You need to hear the stories, right?
Yeah.
He will tell you how difficult it was to write the commands. Say for example, Umar, say for example, if you write this command in Python, count is equal to count plus one. This is the language, high level language example. So if you write this command into assembly language or in machine code, so it takes so many lines of code, a very complicated code, right?
Yeah.
So actually, high level language that is us in writing the program because that is very closely to the human language, right?
Yeah.
Okay, now you know what are the mnemonic codes, and gradually you are knowing this is very difficult to write the code in assembly language. We'll discuss advantages, disadvantages later on, right? So high level languages. So after that, uh, I am taking you step by step. We started from the scratch. Then I told you about the low level language, which is assembly language and machine. Then we discussed mnemonic codes. Now let's talk about high level languages. high level languages. As I said, with the passage of times, there are and there will be developments in the computer technology, right? So high
Yeah.
level language, they started thinking to upgrade assembly language into high level language means it the there should be a language which should be very close to the English. For example, print, print, input, do, until. So these are the English words everybody can understand. It print mean it is printing something on the screen or on your printer. You are giving command. Input means computer is waiting for the input. Do until means ke this is a kind of one thing that is repeating again and again, right? So you can easily understand. One can easily understand these are the English words, right?
Yeah.
So we have blend of high level languages. We have Python, then we have Visual Basic, Java, we have Perl, right? We have Lua. So there are so many C++ that is very strong and interesting, C++, etc. So there are so many high level languages. Whatever you like, you can choose it. So nowadays Python is very strong. Still people are using Visual Basic for software development and Java that is also very powerful language. So all these languages somehow they are using English words, right?
Yeah.
Any question?
No. No.
Okay. So you need to understand the very last point of assembly language. Assembly language is now particularly used for the development of device drivers and for embedded systems. Embedded systems. That is very, very efficient because that is very close to the machine language. So assembly language is very efficient and very fast. So that's why developers they write the programs in for the device drivers in assembly language rather writing it into the C++, Lua, Perl, etc., etc. Right?
Yeah.
Okay. So let's make a difference. Now let's talk about we have low level languages versus high. Are you writing over?
Yeah.
High level languages. High level language, it's user friendly, user friendly, which means that is easy to understand, easy to understand, debug, maintain, etc., etc. If there is some error in your high level language, any programming language, high level language, then you can find out is there any error of commas, colons, apostrophe, spelling mistakes, brackets mistakes, something like that, right? So you can find
Yeah.
it easily. And technically, we call it debugging a program, means when you fix the program, right?
Yeah.
Low level programming language that is very difficult very difficult for for humans to understand, right, Umar?
Yeah.
But assembly language, low level language, that is very easy for the computer to interpret, right?
Yeah.
Okay, Umar, in high level language, we need a translator. Translator mean which can translate your commands. For example, what commands? For example, this one, input A, comma B, C is equal to A plus B, print C. So these are the commands, right? So in order to convert all these English commands into binary, we need a translator. Translator, it's a program which converts your English commands into machine code so that computer can understand and start interacting with you, right?
Yeah.
Are clear?
Yes.
Okay. Whereas in assembly language, it requires an assembler. In assembly language, remember that assembler is only used, assembler, that is a translator that can only be used in assembly language. Assembly language only. So assembler is used to translate the mnemonic codes and instructions, translates codes into machine code. Machine code. Umar, clear?
Yeah.
Okay. Uh, in high level language, we can say mm, high level languages are not memory efficient. Not memory efficient. Not memory efficient. It consumes more memory, more memory than low level languages. Of course, इसको करना भी चाहिए. Okay. Whereas low level languages, they are very memory efficient because it takes less space in memory to convert the program or to interact with the hardware. Memory efficient. More clear?
Yes.
Okay. High level languages can be easily portable. Easily portable. Portable from one device to another. For example, from one device to another. For example, uh, if I write a program in Visual Basic or Python, then and if I send you the code, then you can easily copy, paste, run that file in your own Python installed on your computer, right? So it means
Yeah.
the code can be run on the different platforms or different computers, right?
Yes.
Whereas in low level languages, it cannot be easily ported from one devices to another. Can't
Yes.
be easily ported from one device to another.
Yeah.
Okay, very important point is, Umar, before you write a program in low level language, you should have, you you can make your own formal sentence for this. You should have a knowledge of knowledge of hardware while writing the program in low level language. That is a requirement. Okay. Whereas writing a program in high level language, you should have little knowledge. Little, is it a correct word for this? Little,
Yeah.
little knowledge, little knowledge uh, required to write a program in high level language. You just need to understand where you should place the commas, inverted commas, etc., etc. Umar, clear?
Yeah.
Okay, okay, okay. So high level languages we are done. Now you know what is high level language, portable, and then you know what are the machine codes, mnemonics. Then you know the choosing language, high level, low level languages. Then we have translators. Okay, that is interesting one. So it won't take too long. Translators, there are three types of translators, Umar. Translators. Number one, we have compiler. Number two, interpreter. And number three, we have assembler. Umar, remember that you know what is the function of translator? It translates the data from high level language to low level language. Remember, I told you this thing.
Yeah.
Okay. So, compiler, what are the differences between these translators? Compiler, interpreter, assembler. Assembler is only used in assembly language. That's it. Assembly language. Right? There are some translators, interpreter. It can be used in Q basic, GW basic, etc. Whereas compiler, Visual Basic, Java, etc., etc. High level languages, right?
Yeah.
Okay. What is the difference between interpreter and compiler now? Interpreter जो होता है, interpreter, it reads one line of the high language code. No, you don't understand. Are you?
I do.
Just a second. Let me share the screen. Just a second. Let me give you an idea. Come on. Okay, okay, okay. Where is share? Share. Where is my screen? Now, can you see my screen?
No? Yeah, yeah.
Okay. So this is I have right now. This is Q basic. So for example, print, enter, number. Okay, number. Oh, input A, input B, C is equal to A plus B, print. No, intentionally I am making a mistake. Uh, Not here, print C. Let me do it here. Let me make it a mistake. Let me write print. This language doesn't have any kind of this word in its dictionary or in reserved word list. QBasic doesn't know what is this thing, BRINT, right? So it knows what is print, but it doesn't know what is print. So let's see what happens. Oh, Umar, you see? Okay. Can you see this?
Yes.
Okay. Again, okay. It's not moving, yaar. Let me run it again. Again. So it means interpreter interprets the program code line by line. For example, let me make it clear. Print, that's fine now. Now let me make some mistake over here. Input, INPUU. Let's see what happens now. So it means the first two commands, which are print, enter number, input A, these are correct. Interpreter interprets these two commands successfully, but it stops, it halts here and waiting for the correction, right?
Yeah.
Until you make, until you fix these errors, you cannot proceed. So it means interpreter, it translates or it converts the English language statements or commands into binary line by line, right?
Yeah.
I think you are sleeping, Umar.
No?
Okay. Are you good now?
Yeah.
Okay. So this is the interpreter is used in QBasic and GW Basic. There may be so many other languages as well, right? So interpreter, it translates translates the commands line by line. It won't move to next command until you fix the bug, until you fix the error or bug, whatever. Umar, clear?
Yeah.
Umar, this interpreter is very helpful in the development process of software, right? In the
Yes.
development stage, interpreter that is very helpful because you create different types of modules and you need to find out the syntax errors, so that help you a lot, right? So it fixes everything on the very first stage, right? on the early
Yeah.
stages. Compiler, compiler compiles the program in one go. It compiles compiles the whole program, no matter it's a program of 10 lines or 100 lines, compile the whole program in one go. Okay, at the end, that tells you, sorry, at the end, it tells you if there are some syntax error, it tell you the line number even, because high level languages, they are efficient enough to tell you where exactly are the errors. It tells you the line numbers, or it will take you directly on the syntax where you have actually made some mistakes, right? So at the end, you can fix the error by fixing the line number, whatever the command is there. So you can again compile the program. Compile mean to find out the errors, syntax errors. Umar, syntax means uh, abiding by the laws of the high level languages. In simple words, if you violate the rules of the high level languages, for example, just I said, if you write in but, unconsciously, mistakenly you write b rather p, so that is syntax error. Syntax error means spelling mistakes. If you do some like commas, if you forget to place bracket, semicolon, colon, etc., etc. So these are the syntax error. Am I clear?
Yes.
Okay. Syntax error, then we have logical errors, right? Logical errors, computer won't be able to find out the logical error because there is a mistake in your formula, there may be a mistake in your logic, but it takes time to fix the errors, right? Because you have to find the logic where actually you have written the commands, you have to fix them. Then actually, say for example, let me give you an example. You are writing a program of table. For example, two ones are two, two twos are four. We know it, right? Two threes are six. But in your code, this is just an example, Umar. This is not a commands. You are
Yeah.
expecting the table, but if you get this thing, two, four, two plus three, 5, then 2 plus 4, you should expect 8, rather you are getting this thing 6. So it means there is a logic. You are expecting 2, 4, 6, 8, but actually you are having this data 2, 4, 5, 6. It means there is some formula error. So that is logical error. You have to find the errors and you have to make it fix. Umar,
Yes.
clear?
Yeah.
So now we know what are the... Okay, compiler can also create an executable file for commercial purpose, right? And you know कि commercial purpose means, उमर, जब भी आप कोई गेम परचेज करते हो, you won't be having the code of the game. You only have the executable command, right?
Yeah.
Executable file. Compiler can create an executable file. It won't give you a code, right?
Yeah.
For commercial softwares, we use compiler, right? Okay, we are done with the executable file. Okay, there is some difference. Comparison is still we have to. Okay, shall I tell you the comparison in 2 minutes? Umar, Umar feeling
Yes.
sleepy?
Yeah.
I'm asking you, do you are you feeling sleepy?
Little bit.
I'm just finishing in 2 minutes, right? Comparison, compiler, and then we have interpreter. Okay, the very first one is interpreter translates one line of code into machine code and execute it. We are done with it. I told it, right? I
Yeah.
told you about this. Whereas compiler, it translates all the lines of code in one go, right? Means
Yeah.
executing the program. Okay, interpreter, it reports a syntax error as soon as it picked up the error. Wherever it get the error, it stops there. It won't be proceeding. It won't be going to the next line, right, Umar?
Yes.
Whereas in compiler, compiler reports all, let me say, syntax errors. At the same time, the program is not run until all the errors are fixed. Umar, clear?
Yeah.
Okay, interpreter is very useful when writing the program, when you are writing the program on the development stage, and compiler that is very useful when a program has been finished and that is ready for testing or distribution. Distribution means when you are ready to launch in the market, right?
Yeah.
Interpreter code needs to be retranslated each time the program is run. For example, I have shown you some commands on QBasic. So every single time I have to run that program, right?
Yeah.
Whereas once you are done with the compilation of the program in compiler, then you don't need to compile it again and again, right? You don't need to
Yes.
retranslate it, right? So compiler compiles the program executable, it creates a executable file, whereas interpreter doesn't produce a executable file. I guess that is all. We are done with the high level language. Oh, one topic that is still left, that is IDE. Inshallah in next lecture वो फिर हम उसे discuss करेंगे. I'll show you the IDE environment as well. ठीक है उमर?
Yes.
Okay, take rest now. Okay, see you later. Allah Hafiz.
Okay. Office.